From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode. We got a pretty full house. Who else is hosting?
I'm Vicky.
It's a race.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Audra.
There we go. It's like
I was trying to be polite and let Audra go first.
I know the problem is
I was also
everybody's
trying
polite.
to be polite.
Yeah, it's like at a stop sign, four-way stop sign. Everybody's being polite and nobody moves. So
Trying to out Canadian you.
Yeah, and you did. You did
Yeah.
this time. You did.
yes,
Ugh.
yes. So, Miss Vicky, we're going to
Yes?
do part 2 of our trailers and towing. You weren't feeling well and missed our first one,
Mm-hmm.
but we did have some listeners, and they gave us feedback.
Okay.
One of them's your rally buddy Chris.
Mm-hmm.
He knows my proclivities for tools and toys, and he said that there is a way safe drop hitch that has a scale that you can actually measure the tongue weight, so I don't have to guess anymore. So
That's pretty amazing.
isn't that cool?
Mhm.
I've never even realized it existed, and I think it's pretty cool.
It's not
Mhm.
free,
I can't imagine it would be.
not free, but
You mean you get to buy one of those instead of another race car?
no, it's not that bad. But it's well into 3 digits. So way
wonder-
safe.
Has Chris ever used it? Did he say that he?
I don't
has he
know
ever
if
used
he,
it.
I don't know if he used it, but
I would like to hear if any listeners have ever used it or have one. I would like to hear some feedback on it, how it works, how well you think it works, all that kind of fun stuff.
I would think our listeners are better at towing than me, so they might not need it as much as I do. So Santa Claus list already has it on there quite happily.
Oh, perfect. That's
All
at
right.
the top of the list
Exactly.
under gadgets.
Exactly. You go under the Christmas tree and you shake the present and you break your toe. It'll be great. It'll be
Yep.
great.
That would be wonderful.
And then actually Chris was a guest too. Former Dominating with Dawson guest. Those are rare. Tyler wrote in, and Tyler wrote a novel, which is kind of Tyler being Tyler. And it talked about the amount of weight that is involved with towing, and his tow rig and enclosed trailer gets up to around 17,000 pounds total, and it's quite a lot. And he said it's quite intimidating. And then he actually agreed with you, Jeremy, when he started talking about when you know something so well you don't think about it. And it's kind of like when he was taking his flight instruction as a student, he wasn't dumbing things down well enough and thinking of things. When you have so much experience, it's hard to recognize what you just do naturally. So
Yeah.
I guess that's complimentary to you. It hurt me to see something complimentary to you, but
It's surprising to me too.
yeah.
No, and Tyler went very, very much into detail
Yeah.
on everything, and weights and different things, which is pretty amazing.
Weight
at how
calculation
detailed-
and distribution and math functions. It was quite good, Tyler. So we will
Yep.
put the math functions on this one as well. And
I mean, he went so far as to take his trailer to a scale and
I
weigh the
know.
trailer and all kinds of different things. So it's pretty impressive. I mean, to each his own. Everybody has a different, mindset on what to do, and this, he really took it to the max to be as safe as possible, while towing, which I really give him accolades for that. It's pretty awesome.
what do you think of his tow pig? Excursion V10 4-wheel drive 373 differential.
I am going to plead the fifth.
Okay. Very well.
I'm gonna stay out of that. Like I said, to each his own. Everybody has their own, their own what they like and what they don't like, and so I think that a diesel, especially if you're going to be towing a lot of stuff, I think a diesel is definitely the way to go.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think he should do? He should do an engine swap and put the V10 into his MX-3 and get a diesel for his tow pick. That's the way to go.
Yep.
So, so Tyler, write us a note. Tell us when you're done. And I know Jeremy and I would love to get into a V10 powered Mazda 3. That's fine. Just
Yeah, I'm totally in.
yeah. There's nothing dumber. I mean, better than doing that.
That would be amazing. Could you imagine the fuel mileage we would get? Well, no, we actually wouldn't, even with that light car.
Minus,
it would still be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking it could be the only way to get a wheelie in a front wheel drive car. It'd be great.
Two 25-gallon fuel cells, and we'd still only be on track for an hour.
Yeah, probably, but it'd be a hell of an hour.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
And then Carlton wrote in, and he said that the paddock life at Lemons is so important to him. He didn't want to do an RV or stay. They hate staying at a hotel, so they put everything he could into the trailer so they can sleep in it. And it's still a work in process, but he believes he may be at the top 5% in the paddock. And he's got an 8.5 by 24 enclosed foot trailer. And I want to see this trailer. I want pictures.
That's pretty awesome. It looks like he's got, lights in it, carpet, awning, and he's got a heat pump for cooling and AC. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, it looks like he probably, went our friends from Three Pedal Mafia, what they did with their trailer. So they could sleep in their trailer. They don't have a heat pump, but they have most of the other stuff, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome.
Yep. We need pictures.
So Carlton, if you're on the East Coast and you're at any of the East Coast events, we need to see this thing.
Yeah, Jeremy likes to snuggle, so if it's cold, just let him know.
Yeah, and I'm not, I don't care, big spoon, little spoon, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Just make sure that if it's one of the weekends where he's doing his dodgeball theme, it's up to you.
Ah, that's funny.
All right. So, upon editing, things we did not get into, sir. Trailer storage and maintenance frequency.
Trailer storage is really, that's tough. We all have different places to be able to put trailers. We don't all have, a nice, paved area that we can park trailers on. Me, if I have to park them at my house and I can't park them in the driveway, I usually put some wood under the tires just to keep the tires out of the dirt, and try to move them a little bit here and there. Don't leave them in the same spot. It's just something that I've always done. I don't know why. I just do it.
What about those tire covers?
Tire covers are, I don't know. I think they're useful. For me, I just have never done it. Tire covers are really good for keeping, if you live in a hot area. To me, they're good for keeping in a hot area. They keep the tires from dry rotting and cracking due to the sun.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't see much more of a benefit. I know, people will argue that there is benefit, but for me, my trailers don't sit in the sun typically anyway. So I have never used them.
But
I see a lot of people that do use them.
What about taking it off the tires and jacking it up?
That's way too much work for me. Way too much work. I use my trailers. Yeah, I use my trailers far too often to do that. I think if I was, going to leave my trailers sitting for 6 months plus at a time, and I was concerned with, maybe the tires going flat or getting, flat spots in them or whatever, then I may consider doing that, or at the very least jacking it up so the tires aren't on the ground. But yeah, I use them too much to do that.
Okay. A friend of ours wrote in a post on Instagram that he jacks his trailer, I believe, up so that the trailer is actually at an angle so that the water will drain off the roof. I thought it was a good idea.
Oh, that is a good idea.
Yes, that is actually a great idea. If you live in a rainy area or a snowy area, I leave my trailers. I never leave them when they're parked. I never leave them flat. I always leave the tongue up, just enough so that everything runs off of the trailers. And it makes it easier to get the snow off too, because you got a flat roof up there. So
okay. And then Is there any registrations or licensing stuff? I've heard these nightmares about people getting pulled over with our style enclosed trailers as commercial vehicles or pulled over by the police. And is that something that you know about, or is that something that somebody's going to write in about?
I mean, trailers, every state is different. New Hampshire, where I am, we have registration. Everything has to be registered every single year. In New Hampshire, there are no trailer inspections. So it just has to be registered. You have a plate on it, registration sticker that goes on the plate every single year. As far as commercial versus, private, I don't know until you get into like the fifth wheel stuff. I haven't heard anybody, in the states that I tow in, I haven't heard anybody having any problems. So that just might be an area or a specific state that may have some different rules. But again, every state is different, so you really have to pay attention to what
is different.
Yes. Yep. And every officer is different. So you really need to look into, what your state requires as far as that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some of them say on the side, private, not for hire, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that matters or not.
I know that in PA for sure that in order for your registrations, you go to a place that actually repairs RVs, like camper RVs, and they usually have a place where you can go ahead and have those inspections done, and they go ahead and issue that information that you need.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That, and I think places that do cargo trailers that you could purchase them from. Any place that has a shop for repair on trailers.
Yeah.
RVs also.
Okay. Well, now you know about Pennsylvania, everybody that's listening.
Yeah. And again too is that when you do go in every year, you go ahead and should have those hubs checked on your trailers for sure.
Yeah, I mean you should hubs,
brakes. They have brakes hubs, also.
All of that stuff. You need to check that stuff. I at the very minimum look at all that stuff before I am towing for anything more than like a 30-minute tow, like a quick, easy run here and there. I inspect all that stuff before I make any sort of trip. Like for pit race, when we go to pit race, it's about 12 hours for me. So I go through the trailer front to back, bottom to top. Before that, I inspected it at pit race before I head back home. It's just the safety aspect of it. Like Tyler wrote in and said, there's a ton of weight. I mean, you have a lot of weight, and weight is very dangerous. And real quick,
here, man, I am right here.
I know. Me too. And real quick on the weight aspect of it, if you're towing, just because your vehicle can move a trailer does not mean that your vehicle can stop a trailer.
Yes.
Right. So you really need to be very careful and very cautious that just because your old F-150 can move, 12,000 pounds towing it forward, when you have to hit the brakes, that trailer and that whatever's on that trailer is going to go right through that truck and right through the vehicle in front of you. So you really need to keep that in mind.
Miss Audra, do you know the trailer rules for Massachusetts? We can at least cover 3 states while we're here.
Yeah, no inspection is required, but they are renewed annually in November for everyone. So if you registered in October, you pay the full price, and then you have to do it again.
As a bonus.
Ask me how I know this.
As a bonus.
As a bonus. Gotta love Massachusetts.
Massachusetts is not the most tax-friendly state, so if they can bill you, they will.
And then some. Don't get me going on excise tax either. I just got that bill.
Yeah, it's not like you were the center of the T-tax revolution. Oh, wait, you were.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, Audra, just so you know, New Hampshire is not very far away, and
it's not very far away. Not very far. A
lot different up here in terms of how much you have to pay for all that stuff.
Not very far away. It's like going to Mexico for your racing. And then, Mr. Jeremy, we talked a little bit about an open trailer, but we didn't talk about one of those cool little add-ons you can have typically in the front of the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't start talking about the add-ons because we were saving.
Oh, we're supposed to do that later. Okay, we can talk about that later.
Second episode. That's why we didn't do that.
We can build anticipation.
I think. Well, no, I think now is a perfect time to talk about it.
Is it?
Yeah, because we've actually one of one of the teammates has been mentioning that we need to build one of these on my open trailer. The awesome tire racks on the front of
Oh,
one of these
yeah.
open trailers. They're so awesome. They're such a space saver. And it's just so cool to have one of those. I think it would be awesome to be able to build one on my trailer. And you can put, some very thin aluminum sheeting or metal sheeting around it so that it kind of protects the car from anything that's being kicked up from your tow vehicle as well. If you have, just an open trailer, I think they're pretty awesome.
Well, they have them where they are higher also, and then they have almost like a workstation underneath of it, or they have the ones that just kind of line up in front of your car, correct?
Yeah, no, we're talking about the ones that are
Yeah.
higher, that
Okay.
are higher, keep the tires up above the car.
Right.
Yeah, and you could put your toolbox right up under there. You could put,
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff, strap it all in right up there in the front.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. And I think, if I remember correctly, Bill, somebody that actually helped them
Yeah.
in an unfortunate event.
Yeah, a friend of ours rolled their tow vehicle and their trailer with race car, and the tire rack kind of protected a lot of the impact of the car itself. The tire rack was when it was done, but it protected most of the car and minimized the damage. Otherwise, it would have been like a car on an open deck, and that would have been a much different looking car.
It would have been a flat car.
Yep. So that's not why you want a tire rack, but
oh god, no.
And that brings me to our PBS safety. If you're tired, there's nothing wrong with rest areas. They're usually about every 30, 40 miles.
Yes. Don't ever, when you're towing, go, oh, I know I can make it. It's only, 40 more miles. It's only another hour. Yeah. It's only 30 more minutes. Yeah. That's the worst thing. I mean, it's scary enough to do it when you're not towing, but when you're towing and you have all that weight, it's way too dangerous. Not just for you, but for everybody else on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're there's a lot of kinetic energy when you start going up into the tens of thousands of pounds. So
yes.
Anyway, don't be that guy. So we're continuing on, and we got a little bit more to do about the tow vehicle, or the tow pig, as some of my posts refer to it. Securing the tow vehicle to the trailer securely in terms of connection, and securely in terms of protection from theft. Somewhat similar, but different.
Yeah, I mean, my hitch, I have a lock that is the same key as my truck. So you can't take my hitch out. And also I use a lock when I attach the trailer to the ball, and I use a lock on there that has a key that is actually different than the key on the trailer locks. I don't know why. It's just something that I do.
Yeah, you could ours are both the truck key.
You could probably have them all different, or whatever. That's just the way I do it. But I always I never leave a pin in there, especially when I know I'm traveling for any distance, because you never know what could happen while you're inside for 20 minutes or 10 minutes. These people that are stealing stuff have gotten very clever. So, you want to connect it, you want to lock it down, make sure it's the right size ball. First of all, lock it down, use your safety chains, hook those up, and don't ever forget, because God forbid the trailer unhook, don't ever forget your safety brake cable. Make sure that is hooked to the truck. You don't want to hook it into the chains. You want to make sure that is hooked to the truck, because if the chains pop off and it's hooked onto the chains, it's going to do no good. Then you want to obviously make sure that the lights are plugged in. That way there your electric brakes work, all that kind of stuff works. Check all of your lights before you go anywhere. If you have airbags in your tow vehicle, pump those up. My general rule of thumb is you really need to have your weight distribution correct, but I like to tow with my trailer almost flat. That's the luck that I've always had. To me, that seems, everything is working correctly. The suspension on both axles is working correctly because it has even load. So, you make sure that your trailer is not jacked up in the front or, tongue weight so that the front of your truck is sitting way up in the air, because then you have nothing up there that's going to help you when you need to steer or stop.
It's not reassuring to drive that way.
No, it's not. Nope.
No.
You turn the wheel and the vehicle doesn't turn. It just keeps going straight.
Yeah, it's not the best. And snow is excellent to find that out in. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. What about, like, I've heard of people putting air tags in their trailer just in case somebody decides or is successful in taking what's not theirs?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully I haven't had the need for that yet, but if you're going to put one on your trailer or in your trailer, make sure it's kind of hidden. Don't just walk in the trailer and stick it to the wall. For me, I would probably put it, underneath the trailer in the frame. Zip tie it up under there, put it in a little baggie or something so that the elements can't damage it, and zip tie it up underneath the trailer. Do something where it's not so obvious that it's there.
Yeah, don't put it on your wheel. It's probably not the best place.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then we keep our stuff mostly stored at a small airport, and one of the things that the owner of the airport told us, which I'm not sure, is it's pretty secure because if anybody steals anything from the airport, it's a FBI crime, not a local police crime. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, but just, something to think about. Let's see. Okay. So we talked a little bit earlier about outfitting the trailers, and I know Miss Vicky has a wonderful list of things that she wants to add to our trailer, but I thought maybe we could talk about in general things about trailers and trailering that we either have or want to have. Miss Vicky, what's on your list?
Well, we always wanted a winch, which we have a winch now.
Winch on one, winch to be on the other.
Yes.
Definitely helpful. Definitely recommend it.
I personally, for our trailer, would like to set it up to where we have cabinetry, either lightweight cabinetry on the inside that holds. It doesn't necessarily have to hold our tools, but either shelf things like that. I would like to have racks that would hold, either some fluids or some units, things that I can actually work in my almost like a garage.
Yeah.
There. It is handy to have a pop-up table that lays up against the wall to kind of bring up when we kind of need it, but it's really not necessary because we normally end up having to put out a large folding table anyway. But, and obviously I would love to have the interior light up because that is really important. And definitely have the hooks and necessary things that are hanging inside the trailer to hang our ratchets and hang our brooms and things that are on the wall that we don't necessarily have to worry about. Stuff that helps to anchor things down.
Yeah, and I would say that the E-Track system is probably the best thing that you can do. You use it on the floor to tie down the trailer or try to tie down things. Try to tie down the car if you use those type of straps. The ones that go over your tires, on the walls, because they make all kinds of different attachments to do all of those things you just talked about, Vicky. You can hang anything from them. They're fantastic. They're relatively inexpensive. Tractor Supply sells them.
Super easy to install.
Yep. Yeah, very, very easy. And they're incredibly versatile. And I would definitely recommend putting that stuff all over your trailer, everywhere.
Yeah. Order extra because you'll end up using it.
Yeah.
Miss Audra's.
It's pop in there that I have a very small trailer. It's only 16 foot. So my trailer has a nice wide shelf in the front that my car fits just under, which is perfect. And then there's cabinets up above. And it's really critical to having something so small. So I can, jack stands and, everything that I need to take with me and all of that.
Yep. Yeah, they have little pockets you can put on the walls to hold your jacks and jack stands.
Yep. Yep,
Yeah.
they have all kinds of that stuff, and and not only that, but you can put spare in those cabinets. You can put spare, driving shoes or spare helmets, and things like that fit perfectly in those cabinets. Extra rags because you always need rags.
Mm.
Helps keep everything contained.
Yeah, I have little bins with all that stuff stuck in there, and it's working out pretty well. Considering that it's so small, it can fit a lot in those cabinets.
Yeah.
Well, at least one of your trailers, Miss Audra, has the coolest door ever, which I'm always jelly when I see it.
You know
Oh,
what?
do you have one of those
Max and
flip
his
up doors?
trailer.
Do you have one of the flip up doors over the wheels so that you don't have
It's
to
super cool.
try to climb in the side of the car?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, when you're
Mhm.
6'3", apparently that's what you need.
Yeah, I mean, or unless you want to spend an extra $4,500 to have one of those on your trailer. Hint, hint, Bill.
Oh, you can do that after?
No, you have to order it with it.
Oh, you got me all excited there. It's one of the hazards of being luxurious. So Audra's got a door that opens like a flap.
I don't have that door. That's Max's door.
Oh, Max has a door.
That's
Yeah.
a nice door.
That's a really nice door because
Hey, Max, if you're listening, you have a really nice door.
that's right. That door is
Yeah.
awesome. We have
We're
door
admiring
jealousy.
your door.
That's right. That's right. Your flap is amazing, Max.
Your door is almost as nice as your hair.
Almost.
He's got really nice hair.
Yes. When he doesn't bash it against the cage of his car.
Yeah.
But what it does is it flops open, which doesn't sound very cool, because if it sounded cool, I would have bought one when I got my trailer, which Jeremy now has. But it didn't sound cool because I'm like sitting there going, it's 8 feet wide. Why do I need a door to get out of the car? But then when you get the car in there, and I've never been, well, yeah, I have, trapped inside the car, you can't get out. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. And
it is.
That's a luxury. That's not a necessity. That's a luxury that we all desperately want.
Yes, because it makes things so much easier, and you can get a tan there, and you can sell ice cream when the kids come walking by. There's all kinds of things you can use for it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Alternatively, if you have a 16 by 7.5 and you forget to take the windows off when you put the car in the trailer, it could be problematic to get out of the car.
And no matter if you're luxurious or not. Yes, I agree.
Now, I think your car has reverse, correct? So you could just back out and then.
But you just get into the same problem, though, Jeremy.
I'm not kidding.
At the end of a weekend, the last thing I want to do is do something twice. So
right.
It's
now
done.
actually, while we're talking about this particular subject, my suggestion to anyone loading and unloading, okay, your car.
We're almost there.
Oh, we actually have a spot for that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's right. literally the next section. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. Sorry, I can't read.
I know. It's like his first podcast. He's so cute when he's doing his first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What about having power? Like I've seen these deep ocean batteries, something.
Yep. Deep cell, deep cycle, whatever they call them.
Yeah. Well, maybe not deep ocean. Maybe it's not from the Titanic, but whatever.
Yeah, deep cycle batteries. They're basically marine batteries. What they do is you charge them up, and I don't know the way they make them. The chemicals they use, they hold a charge longer than a lot longer than a standard battery, because in a boat there's nothing to recharge the batteries until you get back on land and you plug it in to charge batteries. So those work great to power your winch or, whatever else you have, your lighting and all that kind of stuff. Great thing to have.
Okay. So we have a separate section for Tales of Woe or Tales of Trailering Woe later. But Miss Vicky has rather strong proclivities towards certain types of straps. Perhaps we should get into the different types of straps and strap ends and perhaps even where to get them or brands we like or brands maybe we don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. We've tried a lot of straps. One of my least favorite straps are the E-Track straps that go over the tires.
Mm-hmm.
inside the trailer, and they
With a
almost
single
for
strap.
like, and they almost look like an omega. They fit like an omega symbol over the tire. I have never been successful with these straps. Every time I've gotten to my destination, no matter how hard I try to put these things down, one of the tires has come undone. So it makes me
Yeah.
very leery to use those.
And for those of you that are listening and not sure what she's talking about, the next time you're driving down the road and you see an 18-wheeler with the metal trailer towing,
Yep.
12 cars on it,
Mhm.
look at how every one of those cars is strapped down. That's the type of strap that Vicky is talking about.
Yeah,
Mhm.
The E-Track, for some reason, those straps on an E-Track system do not work the same as they do on the tractor trailer trucks, because those
Yeah.
they have different hook ends on them, so they actually hook through pockets,
Mhm.
holes and stuff. So they work a lot different on a tractor trailer truck, but though that's the kind of strap that Vicky's talking about.
Yeah, and the main difficulty too is that because when you're in an enclosed trailer, you have limited amount of space to really get in there and work with your trailer and try to strap these things down. Depending on how
Bars are
robust you
low.
are. Yeah. You're dealing with a low car, you're dealing with a position on the strap that's further down the line that you might not be able to get to over the wheel wells very easily. And again, it really kind of scares me to do that. The other one that
Wait.
go ahead.
So the straps that you don't like, they're a single nylon strap that you hook
They have
for.
like little tiny, or they have like small rubber
Mhm.
grips or chucks that kind of track along to kind of help hold the strap in place, but they never hold the strap in place properly.
Right, but it's a single strap. Just I'm
Yes,
trying
it's a
to trying to
single strap.
explain. So
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
held down on the E strap, and then it's held down on the E track right by the tire, goes up over the tire with
Mhm.
3 rubber feet,
Mhm.
Yeah.
goes down in the front of the tire close, and then you get your tension from the fourth place. But the ones that the U-Haul has, those are cool because they have like a basket. So
Yes.
the thing that goes around the tire actually goes around the
Yeah,
tire.
it's a large. It looks like a large net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wraps around the tire and kind of holds it all in place.
Those
Mhm.
would be better, but we can't find them. You still have
Yes.
the problem with the car being low and not a lot of gap between the tire and the fender. But if anybody knows where those are, I don't know where to get them.
Those work a lot better on an open trailer where you have
Yeah.
the room to kind of slide them over.
And from
Over
the
the tire.
side, and
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
But in an enclosed trailer, they're very difficult.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. The next strap that I really don't care too much about are just the straw. They look just like the big metal hooks, and only because that. I mean, they're fine,
I like them.
but yeah, they're fine. But when you put them in try to put them on the flooring nodules or the flooring hooks. Sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of get in there, more so when you're on an open trailer.
Oh, you're talking about the strap, not the attachment to the car.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
yeah, the
like a claw
straps,
hook.
right? They're like a claw hook. Because sometimes for the loops that are hooked inside the trailer, I mean, it's kind of okay there, but more like on the front when you have a limited amount of space and you have to do a couple hooks in the same loop, they don't fit very well.
The loop in the trailer itself.
Yeah.
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 D-ring, I think
They're just chunky. My favorite ones my favorite ones that I do like. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just saying that's they call those the D rings that are mounted into the trailer that you hook your straps into. Like Bill said.
Yeah. So they're just kind of awkward to kind of do, but what I do like are the hooks. The hooks, they're like clamps, and they're almost like the same thing that you might have at the base of your race harness that you wear in your car seat, where they kind of hook on and they have like a little latch that kind of closes it. The reason why I like that is that you can actually, some of our cars have hooks that make it a little bit difficult to get to, or you could put more than one hook together, and it's a space saver more so. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It's easy to flip on and flip off. It goes if you're strapping down, if you don't end up having like hooks on your car to strap things down, they allow you to move into the rim itself. They're narrow enough to fit into the rim comfortably if you have to do like a rim tie down on your car.
Yeah, they open and close like a carabiner does.
Yes.
They have a latch on them that kind of opens and closes like a carabiner. So when you latch it onto something, it kind of closes itself, so it's not going to come out.
Yes, I enjoy those. They're nice space savers, easy. You can kind of put more than one together side by side without having to worry about taking up space wherever you're hooking it onto. Now, on our open trailer, it's where it's most efficient. And they actually work on the E-Tracks very well also.
The other thing that Vicky doesn't like that I do like is they have T hooks, J hooks, and some other shapes. They're actually metal hooks. See how they came up with that? And they go into a spot in the frame of the car, and then you spin them, and then they're secure, and then you basically you're making a mounting point to the car. Vicky hates them, I think, still. And
I'm gonna tell you, Bill, I am on the side of Vicky as well. I am not a person that straps vehicles down in trailers or on trailers via the frame or any part of the vehicle itself. Because what happens when you do that, it doesn't matter how tight you think you have the straps, the suspension in the vehicle is still going to work as you hit bumps, right? So now your vehicle, the suspension is coming down, right? So it's loosening the strap. And then when that suspension rebounds back up, right? It compresses and it rebounds, it compresses, rebounds. You're putting a lot of stress on that strap, and those straps are going to be moving a lot. It's just not something that I know a lot of people do it, but it is not how I tow. It's not anything that I like. It also straps stretch a lot. So with using it, the vehicle itself to mount and tie down with, when you get to a location, I guarantee you that car can move in that trailer easily, just because of all of that stress and the rebound and the compression and rebounding of the suspension in the car.
And that's why I believe that the Omega ones failed also, for the same reason, for the shifting of the car itself. And that is the exact same reason why I don't like it. I'd rather have something that is permanently attached to the car versus something that is just kind of slid into a slot, because there's a risk of a shift and it just kind of popping out of that slot.
Yeah, but even with that, I don't use anything that's even permanently attached to the car. My preferred method, just so that the suspension in the car can work and it can move around in the trailer without straps fighting them, their self, is I always use straps that go through the wheels. So they slide through the wheels. You hook your strap to it. You hook your strap to your D-ring or wherever it's going in the trailer. Tighten everything down. Everything's good.
Yeah, but I'd like to. I'm just going to piggyback off of that real quick. You just got to be really careful about that too, because no matter, you have to be conscious about how tight you crank down, because you could, like we had done before, break our control arm because we overcranked.
Yeah, that's definitely no bueno.
No. Go ahead, Bill.
So I was told there's these things called axle straps, and they have a strap, and then they have like a blanket on top of them. I was told, and remember, not the king of trailer towing, tying down, or anything like that. And if we could magically teleport my car to the track, would do it 100%. I was told you can't use the strap itself around metal, which all our rims tend to be metal, without that strap. So how do I get around what I've been told not to do if I'm supposed to do that? Because it'll cut the strap.
Don't you just have those straps that go through the wheel, and then you hook onto that strap? And then
I have those, but I have tires on certain cars that are too wide for the ones that I have. The longest one I've been able to find, it's kind of, I was going to make a very poor joke that's not family friendly. So
they actually, to continue with what you're talking about, Bill, is they actually make long straps, right, that have a ring on the end. Basically, looks like a D ring,
one on each end,
right?
Yeah,
No, just one D ring on one end.
okay.
So you slide, and that's what I have, and I'll show them to you next time I see you.
And they'll be on the podcast episode promotion
7
on
million.
Instagram.
924.
Exactly. So you'll send me a picture for the
so they make those straps.
People.
They're super long.
Okay.
And I just slide them through the rim and hook the strap through the D ring.
Okay.
And then pull it tight on the tire, and then run that strap to my ratchet.
Okay. Well, we will learn from this, and we will post this on Instagram and Facebook. And I think that the big thing with straps is not necessarily the use of them, but figuring it out for your car, for your trailer, and what's available.
And make sure they're tight.
Yep.
Make sure you check them often. I check mine every time I stop to get gas. The other thing that you want to do, and I learned this very early on, is you do not want all 4 of them to be straight forward and back, or do you want all 4 of them to be crisscrossed? I typically do the front crisscrossed. So the front is always crisscrossed for me, just because the way I do it, I feel like it keeps the front end, from getting out of whack. And then the rear are straight back from the tire. Go.
I do the longer one crisscross.
Mhm.
And then the shorter, like the front of the car or the back of the car, doesn't really matter to me. It's whichever one is longer to the attachment points.
Yep.
That's the one I crisscross. And then I do short, because the straight ones, they can be long or short. It doesn't really matter. So short,
right.
I don't get because I don't want to have a really severe crisscross. Like if it's a 1 foot tie, I don't want to have a crisscross going basically side to side.
Yeah, side to side. Yeah, definitely don't want that.
My trailer is too short to put them straight back on the rear.
Really?
Like they have to be crisscrossed.
So then put
There's
the fronts.
not enough room to tie them down.
So put the fronts straight.
Both have to be crisscrossed.
Really?
It is that small.
Sometimes people say, But you know what I think?
I want to take a look at your trailer.
Exactly. I was thinking we need to play with that. All right.
So
well,
what happens is they tend to, as everything moves around in the trailer, if they're both crisscrossed or they're both straight, the vehicle can move side to side. It doesn't sound like it should, but they very easily can bounce
Captain's
around.
log supplemental.
But I tried to do that, and you couldn't get them tight because there just wasn't enough room.
So,
right,
Bill,
well,
guess what?
We'll have to play with that.
We did the
No,
Sentinel.
I trust you.
We did the
16-foot
Sentinel.
trailer when you have
is
a
short.
We
How do you
were
like it?
half-foot car.
You know what? We were talking
it's
about
very
the
short.
Sentinel.
Don't have a lot of
Yeah.
room.
It was great.
No.
We
Might have to
understood
change where it's
watching
attached, but we
how
can
the
play with it.
Sentinel
Well,
works.
next time we see it at
But
the
we
track.
finally got it into our car.
More
and I
reasons
gotta
to go
tell
to the
you,
track. That's easy.
That was really awesome.
Is there any
I was able
brands
to see every one of my mistakes.
straps that
We
are
have hours
preferred
of
or
them.
not preferred?
We have
Like,
hours of
you
my
know,
mistakes.
when I first started,
But we have
I
hours of good
knew I
stuff
saw
too, which is
straps
awesome.
at Home Depot,
It actually
so I thought
showed
they were
us the
fantastic. And then I
speed.
started
It shows where
getting
we
people
were on
telling me to
track.
go to
We were
Tractor
streaming it.
Supply because they were
We were streaming it
better with
live.
quotes around
Boring
it. And then
billions of
some
people
people
across the
said,
world.
"Hey, you need to go to
But it was
e-trailer."
pretty
And then some
incredible.
people
Plus,
said, "Hey, you
on
need
it,
to
you're
go to
able to
Strapping
put
Turtle."
your
And then some
insignia,
people
your
said, "Hey, I
logos
think they're called
on your app also, and the
straps."
clarity was amazing.
I think
It was,
the biggest
and it was
thing with
really easy to
straps
put
is
in,
was
easier
easy.
than I
check them
thought it
often.
was.
And
I know you
So-
kept making a
make
big deal out of
sure
it. I'm
that
like,
they
it's
are
really
not
that
touching
A-
anything
actually-
that could
until we
possibly
focused
cut
on it.
them.
It wasn't too bad.
You
Then we
know,
got some help.
it depends
was
on what's
pretty-
available to you. Sometimes
It was.
you
It
have
was
to
pretty
run
good.
to
You know what? I like the stream.
your
'cause
local
some of the
dollar
tracks we
store
go to
and grab
don't
a
have
strap.
great
I would
cell
not
phone
recommend
coverage,
that
but it's
at
got
all.
a,
But you know,
USB
get
stick
some
backup.
quality
So
straps.
I
You
just
are
uploaded the
you're
high quality
towing
video without the cellular
let's
interruption.
go
so,
on the cheap end,
if you watched
$10,000
us
race
earlier
car.
and said, "Wow, they got
Why
from there
are
to
you
there
going to
really
try to
quickly,"
save $150
you can watch the real video
on
and see that.
straps
No,
for
we
holding that
didn't.
car
It's
in
just
the
the cell
trailer?
phone went out.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
similarly,
So the learning curve for
don't
me,
do math
obviously, I'm
when you're
slightly
getting your straps.
techno-Amish.
Don't sit there and say, "Well, my
Slightly.
car weighs
Slightly.
2,450
When
pounds,
it
so I
comes
only
to
need
the
2,000
wiring and
pound
stuff like that,
straps
but
because I've got
we
4
get
of
it
them,
in,
and that's 8,000
and
pounds."
I love it. We
Get
were
the
able to
bigger
sit there
strap.
right at the track and watch what
All of
we
my
were doing
straps
in the
are
car,
3,000 pound
and that was
straps.
amazing.
Exactly.
Which was good because if you have a
I
problem
always
with your
try
radio,
to keep the strap
can
the
tell,
same as
you know,
the car.
if
If
something's
the car
going
weighs
on
3,000
that you need
pounds,
to
I
know
have
about.
3,000
Like,
pound straps.
Mhm.
couple
All 4
times
of
we've
them.
had cars come in and we didn't know they were broken. I know
Bigger.
it's hard to
Again, that's
imagine
one of the
auto
things
cars
that you
being
do not want
broken,
to cheap
but,
out
you know,
on.
whatever.
Bigger.
But
That is
the
a
ad watch
safety
the video
related
and
item.
even
Mhm.
with the cell
It is.
phone coverage we had at that
One thing that
particular
we have only
event,
had to use one
it was
time,
like a
but
30-second
actually
delay.
when we
So
needed to
it
use
wasn't
it, we
bad.
didn't have one. What about
And,
spare
you can
trailer
compare
tires?
multiple drivers because
Always,
each of the stints are broken
always.
up. So
Yeah.
I don't care
we
if
got
you're
to work
going
on not
10
only our
miles.
driving, but if
Make sure you have
we
a
wanted to, we
spare
could work on our
tire
pit stops and
with
see
you.
exactly what we do. And there's some things that we need to talk
We
about.
only forgot
as
it
a team.
the one time that our tire passed
it was
us on the
pretty
road
good.
that one
You know,
time.
like I
so
said, it
that
takes
kind of sucked a little bit.
Yeah.
Once
It
we
was
got
good.
the
But
wiring,
luckily I
hooked up
had
for
a
the
spare
once
once
I
I
caught up to it.
Well, I was
probably
going to
could
say,
go from
you know,
an
you were
empty shell
driving
to
way too
a
slow like normal.
full
Your
up
tire wanted to go
setup,
fast.
running
No, my
sentinel.
tire
I could
had
probably
places
do
to
that
go,
in
people to
20
see.
minutes.
Mhm.
So you could
And the other thing
literally
that we
install in
found,
the
there's
car
this little
before a race.
plastic kind of fun trailer jack
Yeah.
that you kind
And
of
see the driver
drive
and
one of the
the
trailer
front
tires
windshield
onto.
And if we
and
want
it
to, we can have
raises
three
up the
that seat
trailer
backwards,
enough
or
so
one
that
of the guys we were going to work
you
with at the
have some
upcoming
space to take a
event,
tire
he
off if
wanted
it
to-
goes
he said,
flat or
could you
whatever.
put a camera on the
I
driver's
think they're
eyes
like
so we could see what they're
$30.
looking at. I said,
Oh, that's cool.
I said, why, yes, yes, I can.
And it's
Yeah,
light.
done it
It's
yet.
better
I'll
than
figure it out.
carrying like the
Okay, time.
pieces of wood to drive
Well, I
onto
love
because
it.
they can get
All right,
pretty
very
heavy.
well.
That sounds like I can
Um,
buy
I
another
think
one.
we need to put that in
Woo!
the notes down below
It is in the notes. And I
Okay.
just haven't written them yet, but
Okay.
they'll be there.
because I need to order some of those too because I don't have any of those.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Just
It's
one.
pretty handy.
I just keep it in the tow truck, just right inside underneath the back seat, and it's done. Let's see. We did winter storage already.
Tools to
Misfit-
bring.
Tools to bring. Sorry, I
Tools
skipped
to
that
bring.
one.
So not only do you need a spare tire, but you always need to have something to be able to remove the lug nuts. Whether you have a ratchet and sockets, whatever you have a lug nut wrench, whatever it is, make sure at the very least you have that. And if you don't have that awesome block that Bill's talking about, make sure you have a jack in your trailer, whether you need it for your race car or the trailer to jack it up and replace that tire. At the very minimum, you need those things.
Mm-hmm.
Would a AAA card suffice?
Sometimes they don't cover the trailer.
Yeah, I don't know how AAA is with trailers. You'd have to call them and ask them.
My coverage said, that's terrible. I'm really sorry about that. Didn't care.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Mm-mm.
But if Vicky had called, they would have said different.
Well, I mean,
I think it was just you.
obviously. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, we don't even have to make a joke on that one. I think we tend to ignore the tools when we're going to a race because we have every tool known to man, as you
Typically,
know.
when you're going to a racetrack, you're going to have all the tools anyway. But
It's the ones where you're not going to a race. You have to be careful.
yeah, you're bringing it to the alignment shop to get it aligned.
Mm-hmm.
When you have nothing in the trailer, you're bringing it to the tire shop to have them, put new tires on it, whatever it is, and you are just bringing the car because that's all you need. Make sure at the very least you have something to be able to replace a tire on the trailer with.
Mm-hmm. And in case you don't believe it, I am not saying who did this, but I've heard of a race team that tested whether you needed to tie the car down by going mere 3 miles down the road, because they may or may not have forgotten the trailer ties. The car, rumor has it that the car moved quite a bit.
Luckily, they make E46 front bumpers every day.
That's a different time. That's in Trailer Tales of Woe.
Oh, okay.
This is a different time, and it's not us.
Yeah, as much as you think a car is going to stay in one
moves
place,
a lot.
they move a lot in a trailer. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
Leaks. Somebody mentioned leaks. Leaks are never good.
Not good.
Typically, the only thing that's ever going to leak on a trailer is your bearing grease from the wheels. So if you have a lot of grease that's leaking out of there, you got some problems.
Roof
Do
too.
not ignore it. Make sure that you take care of it.
We had a roof leak.
Mm-hmm.
That was no bueno.
Nope. Roof leaks are bad because they'll rot the inside of the trailer.
So what's the lifespan of a trailer? Like what can you reasonably expect to get out of it if you're doing proper winter storage, proper maintenance, on and on?
I've seen trailers that people are selling right now that are 20 years old.
Yep. Easy.
Why are they selling them?
because they're getting a bigger one usually.
They're getting a bigger one or upgrading. I think that trailers are one of those things that they can go bad very quickly if not taken care of. But if taken care of, trailers can last you for as long as you would ever need it.
And we had to repair our roof once.
Yes, and in regards to that, I think that we were starting to have integrity issues with our exterior.
What
And
type?
well, the seams were starting to come apart.
Visually, you could see that, or you were having leaks?
Yeah, on the flooring and up top. And I believe it was because we were carrying too much weight in our trailer.
No,
Or it was not
I-
it wasn't packed properly.
I think
more
that
so.
was helping. I think that was definitely helping. But the other aspect, I think, was the fact that it kept getting hit by something, or it kept hitting things.
Nope. So they make these things. They're called moving bars, and they're for
Oh, that's right.
big 18-wheelers and
Yeah.
and they're kind of
That's
like
what did it.
big like 2-inch maybe or so tubes, and they have a jack on the end, and you can put things up and you can hold things together. And I've heard of people who use those in their race trailers, and the race trailer walls aren't built to take that kind of oomph.
Pressure.
No,
That
yeah.
would
And everyone always tightens those things down way more than they need to be tightened down too.
I know nobody who would do such a thing, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
just a rumor.
That can affect the integrity of your trailer exterior.
I mean,
be careful about that.
If you are going to use those, make sure they are up high, at the where the wall studs are welded to the roof studs. Especially if you have metal, the thick metal ones. And do not crank the ever loving bejesus out of them.
Being a reformed bejesus person.
Yeah. Like
but
that.
we got that fixed. That was fine.
Yeah, we straightened it out.
So
vents are great in trailers. If your trailer does not have a vent, it's always a good idea to put one in there.
Like roof vent?
Roof vents. Trailers get very, very hot. They get very muggy inside. They get very humid and create a lot of condensation. So vents are definitely a positive thing. Nothing bad other than if you leave them open and water comes in is going to come from having them. Fans, if you're sleeping in it, like our wonderful listener who wrote in that we're very excited to see his trailer, Carlton, fans and heat and cooling, some way to do that if you're going to spend a lot of time in them is always a positive thing.
Propane cooling, not preferred. I mean,
no.
propane heating, sorry. Propane heating, not preferred.
No, typically no.
I think carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide poisoning. It's not a great thing.
We actually tried that with a propane heater it's intended for tents. And you should be able to run it in a tent safely. And the stench was just ungodly.
Yeah.
Not using that method again.
Luckily, you were able to smell it, as opposed to if you weren't able to smell it, then we wouldn't be having Massager on the podcast anymore. So don't do that.
Well, I heard it's a peaceful death.
Yep.
So
no propane and propane accessories.
No. So I've seen that was actually kind of interesting, and I've toyed around with the idea of it for inclement weather, especially on colder days when you are trying to heat up your inside of your trailer. They had flaps for your exterior opening. If you happen to be using your trailer as a garage. I saw them
go-karts.
No, it wasn't it wasn't go-karts. It was motocross, bicycle, like motorcycles. And I saw them once on a car trailer, and I believe that was at Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, it's like the strips of clear plastic they use in freezers.
Yeah,
like
but you could use those. Yeah, you can use those on your opening. You can strap those up, and that way it'll still hold the heat in, but it'll allow you to pass through with very little issues, or just helping to keep the cold out.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, you're talking about the plastic. They're plastic rubber material, and they just go
clear.
Vertical. And yep,
they're clear. Yep. They're like a really thick shower curtain, but they're strips. They allow you to pass in and out
Worst toolless skirt ever.
Yeah. So I toyed around with the idea with something like that. If we had to do something like running Road Atlanta, when you have a little heater in your trailer and you had to use it as a garage, but you still needed the light to go in and out of your trailer. Still need to have that access.
Well, you're referring to Road Atlanta in December when we
Yes.
went there, so it's quite cold.
Yeah, the minimum I
or
would say
pit
like
race in April.
Yeah.
True.
prop
Sorry,
the door open a little bit with a block of wood, something so
Mhm.
you get some
Mhm.
ventilation in no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing Miss Vicky does with our trailer, being a co-ed team, as all teams should be, she has the tendency to put a shower curtain or curtain of some type in the back for changing area.
If we do not have access to a trailer for day tripping or something like that, yeah.
or a garage or whatever. So
Mm.
yeah, so something to think about. You don't want to,
Because we're co-ed, so
and sometimes you just don't want to show off and intimidate your friends. So you know,
Yeah,
Right.
we
There'll be
string
none
a
of this.
sheet on the back so that we have a changing area.
Mhm.
Someone else that you may know very well, Alan,
Mhm.
Dan,
Mhm.
everybody
Mhm.
quite enjoyed that area.
Mhm.
You probably didn't get him to leave. Yeah.
What?
Probably didn't get him to leave. I think that would be the biggest problem.
Yeah. Andy sold the couch, but that's another problem.
Nah.
Details. So with recent lighting, recent being the past 10 years or so, recent
LED.
lighting improvements, the LED lights are very low draw. So your deep cycle battery, you can run without the trailer being plugged in for many, many hours. And there's no heat. So that's always good, especially in the summertime. So try to get LED lighting.
Yep.
Then they do make tire storage racks for inside the trailer. It's similar to what we were talking about in terms of the trailer tire rack we were talking about for the open trailer. They'd make one for the enclosed trailer. My concern has always been I whack my head on enough stuff inside my trailer, and two, whether or not it's going to overstress the walls because the walls aren't made for structure so much.
No, I think the weight distribution on those tire racks is very good if you mount them enough through enough studs, right? You don't want to you want to get as many studs in it as you can, especially you have a narrower, you have 16. I wouldn't do it on a 24-inch center trailer wall, but if you have 16 on center on the studs, absolutely put one in. But in terms of whacking your head, Bill, they do make them. I'm not sure if that is the Amazon link that you were putting in, but they do make them where they fold up when not in use.
Yeah. I whack myself on pretty much anything because, I like to test how hard my head is. And it's so far it's passed most things.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
What's one of the first things we always tell new students when they're going to be driving on a racetrack?
Eyes up.
Eyes up, right? We got to keep our eyes up, right? Eyes up. And you might not run into all that stuff, Bill.
Might not, but I still will. The only time I use a pool noodle for padding, not in the race car. Okay.
Speaking of that,
yeah.
Now that you just said pool noodle, it's always a good idea. And this is something that we have all done. And if you haven't done it, you will do it. And it hurts really badly.
Yep.
Is walk into the cables of the door.
It's
yes.
lovely. It's ever so lovely.
So if you take pool noodles, cut a slit down the pool noodle, you open your door, you slap your pool noodle on each one of those cables. That decreases your chance, as long as you have your eyes up, decreases your chance of running into those cables.
And your guest's chance of running into the cables more so, because at some point you're going to get used to having cables and you're going to know how to walk out of your trailer, but your guests won't. So it's always good.
Well, it hurts a lot less even when you do. So, there's
Yes.
Yep. So and they're very light and they're easy to just throw in the trailer when not in use.
Yep. All right. We come to the fun part, the part that I believe drives Miss Audra the most crazy at this point in her life. Loading the trailer.
Well, I mean, it sounds like she's got it pretty figured out because she has such a small trailer to work with and it works for what her needs are. It sounds like she's got it pretty figured out.
I don't know
I'm
if
not
she
sure
would
who you're
agree.
referring to, Bill, except for my teammates that I had to prompt to actually load the trailer while I was driving so we could get out at a reasonable hour. Is that I think that's where you're going with it.
Well, I mean, you have had success in being the last person to leave the track a couple times. So,
Well, that's different though. That's different. And that's a thing we can talk about later.
Mhm.
So loading your trailer, what I was talking about earlier was the one thing I recommend is put a wheel chuck underneath your trailer wheels, put one underneath your tow vehicle so that your tow vehicle cannot move.
Mhm.
The other thing you want to do is you want to put a block of wood underneath your tongue and you want to crank that thing up so it's tight. Okay. The
My
less
trailer
amount of
tongue,
movement,
right?
the trailer, yep.
Okay.
The less amount of movement that trailer can do while loading and unloading, the least amount of problems you're going to have and the easier it makes it.
We have a team rule that it must be connected to the tow vehicle.
Has to be connected.
Has to be.
Absolutely has to be connected. And
Mhm.
if you think it's connected,
Make
always
sure.
double check it before
Mhm.
you put the car in, because
Mhm.
I know some people that thought it was connected and it wasn't. And you
Mhm.
drive the trailer in or the car in and kaboom, there goes the trailer straight up in the air.
Now, there's also people have told me that they have loaded blocks of wood underneath the rear end of it to stabilize it, to kind of keep that part of the trailer in position.
I have a question about that.
Hmm.
Are you going to tow the trailer with the tow vehicle at some point?
Oh yes, of course. I'm just saying, like if you're starting, well, I'm not talking about so much even just like loading the car or anything, but if you're in a pinch and you have somebody that's out with your vehicle and your vehicle is not there,
Mm-mm.
but
Nope,
that was an
never,
option.
never, ever recommend that ever. I know some
Okay.
people have done it. Some people have success with it. I would never personally, I would never do it. There's way too many variables to have a lot of damage happen. My rule, and anybody that comes and races with me, that that if I'm not going to be at the track and they're going to get there early or they're going to, load up while I'm doing something, has to be connected to the vehicle. Under no circumstance can they load or unload a vehicle off of the trailer with it not connected.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a problem with loading anything else with it.
Maybe the tool
The-
Right.
chest.
Yeah.
Oh, you
So,
know what we learned? You know those fancy race ramps? You know,
Oh, they're
'cause
beautiful. Those are
they're
amazing.
they're awesome. You know what they're not good at? Loading your tool chest.
mm-mm.
No, they're
Using
not.
using race ramps is an excellent way to have lines from the wheels from your tool chest on your race ramps.
They're not designed for a lot of weight in a very small per square inch
Mm-hmm.
area.
Yes.
They are designed at 1,500 pounds, I believe, per ramp
Mhm.
with a wide tire. So the weight distribution is even across
Mhm.
the plane of the ramp.
So unless you have 235s on your tool chest, don't use your race ramps to get into the.
No, because that line that they will create, your toolbox will create, is going to be very annoying to you in the future.
Not speaking from experience, just I've rumors I've heard. Okay, so we're loading the trailer. You've got certain strategies that I think we wanted to go into in terms of what to load, when to load, weight distribution along the thing, timing. So let's pretend we're going to the track. We're getting ready. We've got some time because it's going to be slightly different leaving the track. But let's just do going to the track.
So going to the track in with my vehicle, my stuff that we bring, the first thing that goes in is my toolbox. That goes right up in the front and the center.
Mhm.
Then I put my welder up in the front. That
Mhm.
gets strapped down on the left side. Other odds and ends go up there. My creeper.
Why do you put the toolbox in the front if it's so heavy?
For weight distribution, for evening out the weight, because that vehicle weighs a lot. So the vehicle kind of sits further back.
Okay, so you're pushing the car backwards to account for the weight of the toolbox forwards.
Yeah.
Oh,
The back,
okay.
the vehicle stays
I
further
just
back.
wanted,
But also,
just wanted to be clear.
but with that, I also actually the vehicle kind of stays centered because I put all the tires and stuff in the very back as well to offset that weight. So my spare tire, yeah.
Did you have to change anything going from the Volkswagen to the truck?
Just in terms of what we bring. So we had to just reorganize where things go in the trailer, just because we bring different things for the vehicles, and also the truck weighs probably, I don't know, 1,000 pounds more than the Volkswagen.
Okay. So it's same stuff. You just moved it around to keep everything
as evenly
level.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Distributed it evenly in the trailer. So I have the spare tires always up in the front. My jack goes up in the front underneath my toolbox. I strap that in. But one thing I do with my jack is I jack it up so it touches the bottom of the toolbox.
Oh, okay.
And then I strap the handle in around the toolbox so that it can't really move. I don't just strap the handle because then the thing could slide around.
Right.
Let's see what else goes up in the front before I even start putting the car in.
We put all our light stuff up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put anything that is larger that's going to go in the front, you want to get that in before the car, because now you're like, oh crap, how am I going to get this in there? My jack stands go up in the front, except for now with the truck, we bring the big jack stands, so those actually go in the bed of the truck.
Mhm. Those are 6-ton jack stands, I think, the bigger ones.
They're ridiculous. You could jack up an 18-wheeler.
Not a problem. I gave you the best stuff, man.
So we do that. We get all that stuff in the front. We load the vehicle, the truck in. We have most of the stuff that's going to go in the bed of the truck. We put all the all the spare parts and all that stuff in totes in the bed of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
We load the truck in, strap that all down. Then the rest of the stuff goes in the trailer. We put the bicycles up front. We put the tables up front. We put a whole bunch of stuff in the bed of the truck. And then we put all the tires in the back behind the truck, between the truck and the door. So we usually, I don't know why, but we bring 8 tires with us. So we have 12 tires every time we go to the track. I don't know why we do that, because we never ever need them. But if God forbid we needed them, we would have them. And typically the way we do it like that is everything is pretty evened out throughout the trailer. So the weight distribution is pretty good.
Right. Miss Audra, how do you do it? Do you do it any differently when you're loading?
My trailer, or when we load Max's trailer. So my trailer is so small, like you have so little options. Like the tires go in the car goes in the trailer. For Max, like the toolbox goes in the front,
Mhm.
and everything else goes in the bed of the truck.
Okay.
So very little actually goes in there.
Okay. When do you guys start loading the trailer? Like we're talking an ideal world. You have a race, you have to be there for Friday. When do you start loading the trailer?
We always get ours packed the weekend before.
Okay.
Just because we're so spread out up here.
Right.
Nick is, an hour and 45 minutes away from me. Jonah's close, and Barrick is kind of close, but we always get together the weekend before, make sure everything is good to go on the vehicle, the trailer and the tow vehicle, and we get everything loaded up so that it's sitting there ready to go when we need to leave on Thursday.
Okay. Audra?
Like Wednesday.
Wednesday? Okay.
Loaded, yeah. Because for Lemons, like it's Max's toolbox and stuff that comes with, and he uses it for his job.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to talk to him about that, Audra.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because not on purpose and not maliciously, not last year, but the year before, I had a lot of money worth of tools disappear at the track. So I don't bring my really nice tools to the track anymore.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I don't think it was malicious. I just think things just never made it back.
It was not maliciously, but when, hey, it's in my toolbox. If you need it, it's right there. Just grab it. Just make sure it comes back. And you know how the weekend of racing goes. And
sometimes,
crap.
Yeah.
And again, not maliciously, but
No.
how are you going to remember, 2 months later who you borrowed this tool from? Like it's, so.
I know.
How do you know, Bill?
Because it's on the person who borrowed it. They should know.
Right.
You know, it's
again,
their responsibility.
Not maliciously,
in the midst of
but
chaos and mayhem, right?
Oh, I know.
Yes.
I've gotten tools back 2 years later.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it boils down to. So that's I used to bring all my good tools because, as you all know, I used to sell tools, and that made me rethink what I was going to be bringing to the track.
Yeah, we always bring our second or third tier tools with us. We don't. All of our best stuff is in the garage.
Yeah. So Miss Vicky, let's brag about how we do when we're loading to go to a race. How do we do? We have a rule.
Well, we try to do it the weekend before, but it always ends up being Wednesday.
Yep.
pretty much.
Or Thursday.
Or Thursday when I'm traveling down through and meet you there to
Yeah.
keep driving together as a train.
Right.
Yeah.
We have what?
We have a rule. We haven't followed it yet, but we have a
Well,
rule.
yeah. Well, there's other factors that have taken place that have moved that date for us. So we always, in our particular trailer, we have a nose on it, a V nose on it. So we put our relatively lighter stuff up front in there. We have a cabinet to our left that we put our electronics in. And then after we kind of roll the lighter stuff up front, we roll our cabinet in.
No, we put the tables to keep everything from moving.
That's right. The tables go in first, and then we put our tool cabinet in. And actually, after, a while of paring down what should be in our cabinet has actually gotten a little bit smaller, which is good because, this is a thing that was always back and forth in our garage, and that was the stocked tool cabinet with standardized and metric tools to the max. And it, from the person that works on the cars and how many times I've actually had to pick up a standard wrench or a standard socket, is very little. And the amount of weight that the tools were putting, additional weight, in combination to everything else that we have, and not just those units, but the excess of stuff of the might haves to use. We've really kind of pared those down and start taking some of the excess out. And we actually did very fine. If we really needed to borrow something, we could borrow something from our garage mates. But we've also prepared our cars better for when we got there also.
Our cars also changed from American to European and Japanese.
Well, so we have an American vehicle. We do not have any SAE tools with us at all. Everything is still metric.
Right. And you find yourself that there are, when you start to really get to know your car, you notice that there are tools that are just your go-to tools all the time that that work with your car. You might take a risk of not having stuff, but I really don't think you need to have a bunch of excess tools that you aren't going to use. But I know that Bill always liked being prepared, and Bill also likes being prepared for the people outside of our garage. And that's one thing that I try to talk to him about. Like, we don't have to bring tools for the paddock for people that might have to borrow something. So take those out. So the last tool cabinet that we brought was really, really pared down. We still need to work on it, but it was really pared down from what we had, and we did great with it. And it really did, maybe in the larger scheme, didn't affect weight in the, 1,000 pounds, several thousand pounds versus several hundred pounds. But still, everything counts depending on how many other totes that you're carrying.
Yep.
Everything adds up. So take the stuff out that you don't need, get rid of it, put it back in the garage. And, we just didn't bring all of our top tier. We found other things that worked better, that were smaller and lighter.
Yep. So one thing that I'm going to do this year in terms of tools is I'm going to bring tape with us. And every time we use a tool, well, not every time, but if we use a tool, we put piece of tape on it.
I like that.
At the end of the 4 Lemons races, if there's tools in the toolbox that don't have tape on them, if you didn't use them throughout the whole year, chances are you're not going to need them. So they can come out of the toolbox. And if, God forbid, you need it, you can ask around and somebody, more than likely will have something and you can make do with it. But, it's really beneficial to be as efficient as possible, and rummaging through a toolbox to find a particular tool for 20 minutes is not very efficient.
True. Okay, so I put sequence in here for loading to get out of the track, to get away from the track, because I noticed Audra's team was having trouble with that. They were
Only once. After that, I think we really we learned our lesson.
you
And
paid the
then
price.
by New Hampshire, we were everything
New
was
Hampshire, you were
packed
good.
up like
Mhm.
midday. We were ready to go. So it was
Yeah.
really good. It's just, the first time we had some, well, the first time
No,
there were other
that
issues.
didn't happen.
Thompson, there was they did I said we should really start getting packed up, and they're like, yeah, and they didn't start until it was over. So New Hampshire, Sunday morning, I'm like, okay, what we don't need needs to go in now. Like
Yeah.
everything
Yep.
needs to get packed now.
Yep. Even if
That
it doesn't
worked out
go in the
very well.
trailer, make sure that it is closed up and packed and sitting in a pile in the garage, ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
Eventually, you're going to reach a point in the racing day where if X happens, you're not going to fix it anyway.
Right.
Mhm.
So
That's the conversation that we had.
yeah. So 2 hours from the end of the race, the tools go in the trailer, and if you need them, you can go get them out. But
No, that morning, like Sunday morning, we started packing things up. Like anything that was not being, if it wasn't food, it needed to get in.
if
Yep.
you pack my food, I'm leaving anyway.
And that's what we do is we start to leave the track Sunday morning once the race starts, and everybody gets a chance to kind of unwind, because you're all hyped up at the beginning of the race. Once, things kind of settle in, 20, 30 minutes into the race, an hour into the race, that's when we start to pack everything up. We start cleaning up, putting stuff together and all that stuff.
Yeah. And don't, I think the thing that gets everybody in trouble is, oh, we can't pack because the car's still out on the track. You can pack a lot.
Mhm.
Like your spare tires, you can get rid of those. You can put them away. You can load. You really can load anything you can that you can still drive the car onto the trailer.
At the very least, you can pack almost everything up and get it at the back door of the trailer on the side of the trailer so that when you do put the car in, if everything goes behind it, it's right there ready to go. It takes you an extra 3 minutes to put it in the trailer.
Yeah,
Right.
because
So I drove first on Sunday, and I
Mhm.
challenged my team to have everything packed up by the time I came in. So 2.5 hours later, I came in and the garage was practically empty. The only thing that was left really was a food table.
Mhm.
It was great.
I am so proud of you that you can sit in that car for 2.5 hours as quickly as you've gotten to that point.
It's so fun.
I know.
She likes passing people. She does. So we talked about it before, but I think it's worth talking about it now. When you've left the track and you're getting gas, check your tie downs, take a peek inside your trailer, make sure something isn't moving.
100%.
Could be your car, could be your tools, could be, ideally it's something light so you don't care. Like when our cookie moved, we didn't really care a whole lot.
Or you were in a rush to get out of the track.
Exactly.
And you forgot something. You forgot to strap something, or
or it loosened, or it got wet. The ones that are outside, they get wet. So we've gotten to the point where we bring certain things to the track, but we don't unload them.
Yeah. Yep.
We just have our spare parts. We don't unload them.
My welder stays in the trailer unless we absolutely need it.
Right.
That stays strapped. If we bring the engine hoist, that always stays in the trailer. It doesn't come out.
Hopefully for the entire weekend, it doesn't come out.
Hope and pray. It has come out, knock on wood. It's come out for another team to use. We've never had to use it.
That's awesome. Did Tom say thank you? I'm just kidding.
It actually, believe it or not, it wasn't. It was actually, wait a minute. Did we use it on Tom's car?
I just pick it on Tom.
We might have used it on Lumino's car, but no, it was the Chevette, the Corvette, whatever Chevette thingy, the black one at Thompson.
Okay. All right. What about unloading at home? Vicky and I are kind of in an island unto ourselves, even though Pennsylvania is not an island. We are the only people around. The closest person to us is probably 3 hours ish. What about unloading when you get back home? What do you guys do?
So through my years of doing all of this, my biggest recommendation, especially to the those of you that are new, is I know it's exhausting and I know it's tired and you don't want to do anything when you get home, but try to get that trailer unloaded with what doesn't normally stay in the trailer as quickly as you can that week or the following weekend. Because especially when you have help loading your trailers, you never know what's going in the trailer. You never know what's there. Now I had help one time and my cooler got put in the trailer. Well, I always empty the cooler. I take all the food out of it, throw it all away. The only thing that stays in the cooler would be if there's waters or, adult beverages in it. That's the only thing that ever stays in the cooler. Well, I had help loading the trailer, and I had forgotten that I had help. And so 3 weeks later, when I went back into the trailer, I opened up the cooler and it was disgusting and the whole trailer smelled. And so always try to get it unloaded with what doesn't stay in there normally as quickly as you can.
While you're at it, if you wind up with a bag of your team member's stuff and you text them and say, do you need any of this stuff this week? And they say, no, it's fine. Ask them if they have any apples on the bottom of the bag.
Probably a good plan.
Terribly specific, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep. Always try to get to it. You never, ever know. An apple could have, something could have fallen into one of the bags. Something could have fallen into something and nobody realized it. And now you have, rotten food or whatever in the trailer.
I think we've all at least one time made a mistake of something like that.
We still haven't unpacked our trailer from November.
I still have to tell you, Bill and I, we literally are the tank when it comes to our team. And by the end of that weekend, we are freaking exhausted.
Yep.
Freaking exhausted. And so yeah, Bill's gonna have to bring it around.
True.
So most of the stuff that is in our trailer stays in there. Or rather Bill's trailer. It stays in there. So I have taken out, that week, the following weekend, I took everything out that I knew needed to come out.
Right.
But other than that, I left the trailer with everything because it all needed to stay there anyway.
The only problem with that is when you miss something.
Yeah.
Now,
and then you pay.
This is not on trailering. Well, it kind of is unloading your trailer. One thing that you, especially living in the Northeast, you don't want to forget to do is drain the water and put antifreeze in your vehicle.
Yep.
Now, we just realized recently that because the truck stayed in the trailer and we didn't do it at the track on Sunday before we left.
No.
We are hoping and praying because we did not do that.
Ick.
So make sure that you either do it before you load it for the end of the season if you know you're not going to touch it and you're leave it in the trailer, or get it unloaded and get the water out and swap it to antifreeze.
I need to know that everything's okay when you do check it. Okay, what about gas cans?
Yes.
Trailering gas cans, Hunsackers, or the like.
So our gas cans always get trailered empty due to the weight.
Same.
Unless we have one can left over from the track that we can't fill anybody's vehicle with. Like everybody, we've literally filled everything and we have one can. Typically, I will put that in the bed of my pickup truck and, strap it down to one of the corners. Don't ever leave a gas can, with liquid in it in the trailer. Although the fumes are the most dangerous part in terms of, catching on fire and exploding, don't do it. Just don't do it.
It's not worth it. And if you ever need to, Alan seems to have a capacity to take thousands of gallons in his little blue pickup truck. I have no idea how he fits it, but it's amazing how much gas he can take. I'm like, is it like a black hole?
It is. It's a black hole on top of the fact that he's got thousands of pounds of metal in the back of the truck with all those thousands of gallons of fuel.
More
His
traction
car,
that way.
his truck is not that big.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like the Doctor Who telephone booth. Stuff just keeps coming out.
Yeah.
What about very heavy items and or like scooters and things that people bring? Like some people bring a golf cart. How do you deal with those?
I mean, if you have the room, you just like a trailer, or I mean, just like your race car, if you're putting it in the trailer, you need to make sure it's not going to move. So those golf carts, motorcycles, I've brought dirt bikes with me. Make sure they're strapped down. Make sure they're not going to move. And again, check the trailer often. Every time you stop and get gas, if you are towing for a long distance, every time you stop and get gas, or if you're not towing for a real long distance, but you're going to stop twice, just open the door and check it out. Make sure everything is okay.
You'd rather find out halfway there than all the way there.
Yes, because all the way there, it can do a lot more damage than,
Any cool upgrades to the trailers that we didn't cover? Any waste of time? Don't bother.
I mean, there's always things. Everyone is always evolving as a team and a towing person. I mean, everybody finds what works for them. So if you listeners have something that we haven't talked about and you have done to your trailer that you absolutely love, please tell us.
Indeed.
I don't know if Bill had brought it up in the part one of our trailering, but Bill, through NASA Great Lakes, they
don't blame them.
They had hung a very large poster, laminated poster of the racetracks. And Bill had went out for all the racetracks that we attend, and he went out and got a series of all these massive posters, and he puts them on the inside of our car trailer on clips. And I have to tell you, it is very handy when you are helping out your teammate, especially when they're new, to go in there on a laminated wall map with white markers or whiteboard markers, and being able to instruct some of your students or some of your fledgling racers that are out there. As you're driving around the track, you say, listen, this is where I need you to focus. This is where I need you to focus. Or, are you having trouble here? You're having trouble there, especially when you're with your HPDEs. They've been very, very handy. So they're nice little additions to put in your trailer.
But it's not just the new people to it. It's the people that have never been to that track before.
Right.
It's very helpful to look at a track map and go, okay, well, I've got it. I can kind of figure out where it is from here, because those people that have experience typically, you go out and you do 4 or 5 laps and you kind of have the idea of the track.
Right.
But it is very helpful if you've never been to a track before to look at a track map.
Or just to talk about it, like, hey, what are you thinking? Jeremy and I have gone to the track maps and said, I do this. And he's like, well, I do this. And then we know either A, one of us is doing it better than the other, or B, neither one of us know what we're doing. So,
and typically B.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
But at least, you start discussing it and you start to figure out, maybe there's a better way, or at least another way. So,
Yeah. I think our maps are like 2.5 feet or maybe 3 feet by 4 feet.
Usually,
they're pretty big.
I try to get the 3 foot wide or 4 foot wide at most. And the cheap and easy way to do this is they sell the menu hanging strips for restaurants at a restaurant supply store. You get like a 3 foot one or a 4 foot one, and you can just put them on the wall, any wall, and it'll hold them, so you don't have to screw them down or anything. It's pretty nice.
The other thing I was going to say too, on when as soon as you said the using the whiteboard markers, is Bill has, in his infinite wisdom and ideas, he brings a rather large whiteboard. You can mount that in your trailer, write down things that need to be done to the vehicle, erase them as they're done, tasks that people need to do, things like that. Makes a big difference. Leave it hanging on the wall in the trailer, take it down, bring it in the garage, like wherever it goes. That is definitely something that is very beneficial, especially if you are scatterbrained, like most of us are. Most of us that go to Lemons are very scatterbrained people. So if you think of something, you can write it down. You have a place to write it down, and it's very, very helpful.
And everybody can see what's going on.
Yeah, we've actually adopted that, and it's been awesome. Like, it has been so helpful.
Yeah, we have a grid that we use for setting up so everybody's good for the entire day of racing, and then we have the to-do lists on the bottom. And hopefully nothing. The best days are the days you don't have to use it, but the days when you need to use it, they're invaluable. Can't get around
And
it.
they're especially handy when you're starting out racing, because getting everybody on the same page to know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's so hectic. Like you can't remember everything.
Yeah.
No.
And you,
No.
you just, if something's on your brain, you just run over to the whiteboard, everybody can see it.
Mhm.
And everybody know, or they can come and ask you, say, what's going on. But it really does help with scheduling. It lets everybody know who's supposed to be working the hot pit. Everybody's on the same schedule. They know it's fluid, but that's when your
plan.
phone chain comes in.
Yeah.
But it is very helpful keeping everybody on track.
All right. Now we've come to the part. Anybody who's listened this long, they deserve story time.
Oh, story times.
Trailering and towing tales of woe.
I think
we have our fair share.
I put a quick list down of, I think I have 20 things on here. So, we've got some if you need some.
So I have definitely forgotten to do certain things, but I've been very lucky. Forgot to tighten down one strap on the car, or
the motorcycle story we did last time.
In the chaos, I've had the motorcycle issue, but I've been very, very lucky. So that my real tale of woe was definitely the motorcycle issue that I talked about in part one. But other than that, I have been very, very lucky. But I'm also a very cautious and methodical person when it comes to safety. So to me, trailering, you cannot be safe enough. It's just like building your race car with all the safety equipment. You cannot skimp. You need to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Vicky and I are not so lucky. So let's go to Miss Audra. She's relatively new to her trailer and towing, so hopefully she doesn't have as many stories as Vicky and I, but I'm sure she might have one. By the way, she's rubbing her head.
Well, because I do like the dumbest thing that I've done so far is I forgot to put the wheel chucks on the trailer before I unhooked my towing vehicle.
Uh-huh. How'd that go?
I have some. Well, my car has some bruises.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, it's very
Oh
sad.
no! Oh no! Your new Durango?
Yeah, it was pretty dumb.
Oh.
But on the good side, I will never forget to do that again.
Well, and honestly, that's something we didn't talk about.
I have uneven ground on here. Yep.
Well, yeah, and we didn't talk about. We talked about when you're loading the car into the trailer, making sure there's a wheel chuck there. But when you have the trailer stationary and you're hooking it up to the vehicle, you should have a wheel chuck there, especially when you're taking it, unhooking it from the vehicle. You really should have wheel chucks there to make sure that thing doesn't move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
No, it's a little embarrassing to admit. So thank you for that.
We're here for you, Audra.
But we've all done it, Audra. We've all done
it. Have you looked at the back of our truck? It's got 2 of them.
Yeah.
Miss Vicky, would you like to start with some of our tailors as well? Because they're entertaining.
Yeah. So my big one was, again, knowing nothing from nothing early on in our days. We were coming back from New Hampshire, and Bill had taken a run. Bill is our runner on our team, as everybody knows. And in the process of him taking the truck out, somebody had stole our hitch unit, and it was a nice hitch unit. Was that the time we had the really nice hitch unit? Yeah.
Yep.
And they took it off the back of our truck. It wasn't anchored down.
It wasn't
locked in.
Yeah.
So Bill had gone in and bought a ball as a replacement, and not realizing that the balls come in different sizes. So anyway, it was I don't know if, we were following each other back. You were driving a car because you had something to do.
I was towing another car in front of you.
Oh, that's right. So in the process, we left New Hampshire, and there was a bunch of road work. And of course, it was that time of year in October when things got dark. And Jennifer and Jim were there also, and I think they had left behind us.
No, they were in front of us. That was the weird thing.
I don't remember. But anyway, I had hit some uneven pavement and the trailer had jumped off the ball and was dragging behind me, still attached by the chains and locking up. And I looked in my rearview mirror because I felt it, and there are just sparks that are flying behind me. I pulled off, and what had happened was obviously the ball was too small and it had jumped off. And then we had some teammates had some fellow teams, not teammates, but other teams had stopped by, and they were able to
Laugh at us.
help me get the well, they did laugh at us too. But basically, we can get your trailer back onto the truck, and that was not a big deal. But what happened was is that when it pulled the electrical unit out, damaged it. So I had no tail lights. So Bill is telling me, well, just drive it and I will be behind you, or you follow me or whatever. I'm like, we have to go through like 3 states. I said, somebody is going to pull us over in like every freaking state if I don't have taillights on this thing. So we're trying to figure out what to do. And then as I'm sitting here contemplating, Bill is still working on trying to, because he was ahead of me, he's still trying to find those exit ramps to kind of wheel around and catch up with me, because he's got to reverse and come back around. And I'm sitting here looking at this mess. I'm just like, oh my God, it's dark. What am I going to do? And then I hear this, what you doing? And there's Jennifer. Like, I did not even expect her because I had no idea where she was anywhere on the road anyway. And she's leaning over at me. It's pitch dark. She goes, what you doing? And I'm like, well, this is what happened, right? And Jim he was pretty savvy with electrical stuff. So he's like, oh yeah, that's fine. So what they did was him and his son pulled the schematics up. They pulled the head off of the electrical unit and they repaired all the wiring inside and they put it back on, and then I plugged it back in and I was able to have brake lights again. So then we end up going on. But still know that, all the balls are different that have to fit onto your trailer. So know which one you're hauling is really smart. That is probably the most kind of traumatic, but I've never been happier to see my sister in my entire life. When she pulled up, I just didn't feel alone sitting on the side of the road anymore, because nobody could really help me fix that, at the time.
Nope, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite that wasn't involving me is Jennifer and Jim and Jacob and her other son Jimmy. They took the summers off and they would go around the country.
Oh yeah,
towing everything. So for this particular time, they were in I don't remember if it was North or South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting onto the highway, and they're just, I think they were finally getting up to speed, and then all of a sudden their truck and trailer are up in the air by like
launched
by like a foot and a half. So what had happened was the road had heaved and cracked, and it formed a nice ramp. So
a pitch, yeah.
So they take off, and then everything was fine until they landed. And then the trailer itself,
the windows popped out of the front.
Well, the trailer turned into a banana.
Mm-hmm.
So the windows popped, doors popped. It was basically a write-off. And then the sheriff made fun of them. If Jennifer was here, she'd tell us the rest of the story. But
I do remember. Yeah, I do remember them telling that story where the windows had broken out of the front of the trailer when it landed, and it bent the frame in the front.
Oh my God.
So the trailer was no longer to be driven, and they were thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away from home. So they end up having to wait, and then they had the guy that had to come pick them up, and they all had to get into, well, Jim had to drive the truck, and they had to gather whatever they needed from the trailer into their truck. So they had no place to sit. So they had to go inside the tractor trailer truck in that bed unit in the back that Jennifer said was none too clean, and they had to drive, and they had to stay in a hotel, and they had to do all the work to purchase a new trailer while they were in the West Coast
on vacation.
They had to get on vacation.
Yep.
They had to wait until all the insurances got cleared before they were able to get another trailer
I think the insurance
to
company said that
unload and put that into the new trailer.
I think the insurance company said they needed an appraisal guy to come out there, and it would take like a week. And Jennifer lost her mind on the
She
insurance
was
company.
just yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
believe it.
So that was Jennifer's I know that's Jennifer's story. And then of course Bill coming back from Mid Ohio.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Jeremy explained how sometimes the car bouncing will cause the clip that goes into the frame of the truck, frame of the car to come loose. I believe a light went on when you said that that would happen because I was driving back from Mid-Ohio and I had tied my car down exceptionally well with my brand new tow ropes. And then driving back in, let's see, I was just 3/4 of the way through Pennsylvania, which, in case you're not from Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania is really wide. Not
It is
Texas,
wide.
not Texas wide, but it's really wide.
Yeah,
It's
it seems
about
like it goes
it's
on
about
forever.
5.5, 6 hour wide.
Yeah, it depends how you're doing.
Mm.
And so I passed this one truck from I forget what state they were from, and then all of a sudden they come and pass me back because I got into the right lane, like you should when you're done passing people. And they got in the left lane and caught up to me, and like the lady in the passenger seat was making hand gestures at me, and they weren't like New Jersey gestures. They were like, "Hey, look behind you," kind of gestures, not I'm number one.
Like in a
And
panic.
yeah, she was trying to get my attention, and it wasn't the New Jersey how you doing number one flying. It was a different one. So we pull over, and they pull over with me, and what had happened was my front. It's hard to tell what had happened, but the result was my front two, one of my front two ropes, not ropes, belts, straps had broken. And then one of my rear ones had broken, like frayed off, like I was dragging it for a appreciable amount of time. And the other one had stretched. So instead of my car having all four wheels on, this was an open trailer. Instead of it having all four wheels on the trailer, it only had two wheels on the trailer. The other two had gone off the front of the trailer. And the only thing that kept my car from continuing to go forward was the jack upright.
Oh.
And he wrapped the bumper around it.
Well, I didn't
Like
do
the
it on
bumper,
purpose.
the bumper was on. Well, I know you did. You didn't mean it. But the bumper was literally on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So the jack was on the inside. And fortunately, there was no damage to the radiator. There was no damage to the engine.
The radiator support was trashed, though.
Yeah, the radiator, the manufacturer radiator support was trashed, and the bumper obviously was trashed. But he was very lucky.
But I was, I wasn't very far away from the car either continuing its movement forward and having a two-car accident with myself or leaving. And the tricky part was, what do you do now? Because I've got a car that's literally leaning against a post in the front on its frame on the trailer, and I had limited number of belts now because some of them were trash. And I don't want to brag, but I didn't feel like showing off and lifting my car and putting it back onto the trailer, with one hand, obviously. I just didn't feel like doing that. So it was kind of like,
no, that usually makes people feel bad about themselves when you do that.
Yeah. The guy stopped and was helping me, so I didn't want him to feel bad when I showed off my left hand, because my right hand I might have thrown it off the back of the trailer. But so it was one of those. Well, what bad decision am I going to be more comfortable with to get myself home? Because I think it was like an hour 15 away. It didn't take me an hour 15 with what I had to do to get home, but it was an hour 15, and there wasn't a whole lot I could do to get the trailer on. And so we made the best bad decision that we had, and we drove very slowly the rest of the way, and got home, and my beautiful bride said, "Don't worry, I got this." And she went to the hangar with it and used the heavy equipment that are available at the local airport that we stay at. And no harm, no foul, a little bit of body damage. It wasn't terrible. But that's one of those cases of being lucky than being good. And
That was the same weekend when we had the drivetrain shred in half.
the drive shaft.
The drive shaft, yeah, the drive
Mhm.
shaft broke in half.
It was
And
a good weekend.
I really honestly think that Bill had pulled in and just kind of dropped the keys, just disgusted by the whole weekend and ready to cry. I think if man tears, but and was just done. He was just so done. It was an unsuccessful weekend for him and a waste of time. And this just kind of was the icing on the cake for him. And he was just done with cars for a while.
Yep.
So if you have trailer tales of woe that you wish to share with everybody, because they always make people feel better about themselves, except because it's
You
not
are not
them.
the only one out there.
Exactly. Write in. Let us know. It'll be great. Tyler, we're expecting another novel from you, so come on in.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Yeah.
you don't have one. I do have a couple miscellaneous little things that maybe we should go over real fast and then call it a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Concrete versus tires. Concrete wins. It sucks the water out of your tires. Concrete is porous. So if you're on concrete, park on wood, park on cardboard, park on anything, raise it off the thing.
And I believe Bill means when you're winterizing your vehicle.
Yes. Yeah. Long term, even short term, it does it, but short term, it doesn't really matter. Okay.
Yeah.
Why? This is a question to the gallery. Why does the front left trailer tire wear out faster than all the other ones?
The front left?
Front left of your trailer will wear out faster. Front left,
My guess
Okay.
is that that's where you're turning and how you're backing up and all that stuff. You're tearing that tire up more. My
Okay.
front right wears faster on my trailer
Might be front right.
because of the way I back it up. I'm always backing. And what happens if you look at a trailer, the two axles, the front axle tires always go at such an angle as you're backing up, especially if you're real tight angle. They tend to tear up pretty quick and pretty easy.
I may be the right. I may have misspoken, but it is the tire that takes the abuse for getting on and off the highway, because you're usually getting on and off the highway to the right,
Mhm.
and that's the one that takes the beating. So check your front tires more than your rear tires. Don't while you're there check them all, but whatever. Is there anything that people should be careful about? Because most trailer tires have like an aluminum rim as opposed to a steel or structural rim. Is there any difference there? Because I know somebody who's been passed by their tire. It was because even though I torqued my tire lug nuts, it didn't seem to matter.
Well, I mean, you always want to check them and torque them every time you drive anyway, and you're towing. But I mean, you can over torque tires, and the steel definitely moves and twists and bends in a lot more ways than those alloy wheels. So if you over torque or over tighten the steel wheels, it could be detrimental.
Yeah.
But it could be detrimental in any circumstance.
Yeah, just be careful with your trailer tires. They're not as easy to torque as your race car tires. All right, final one, Jeremy. Backing up. Tips, tricks. Don't do it your first time on a 4-lane highway.
No,
not the place to learn.
So I have been very lucky, and that's why, as you have brought to my attention, the things that just come naturally to towing and trailering to me are not, what everybody grows up with. I grew up with a grandfather who drove tractor trailers. So I grew up towing everything all the time. But before I was allowed to tow any real trailer, my grandfather made me take our lawnmower and hook the lawnmower trailer up to the lawnmower. And we had a driveway that was about a quarter mile long, and I had to back down the driveway back and forth successfully multiple times before I was allowed to tow anything. And I can promise you, if you can back up a little tiny small trailer, you can back up a 58-foot tractor trailer truck.
Okay.
Practice with small trailers. They're much, much harder to back up than larger trailers.
Or just practice anyway. Don't think, well, I've been driving for years. Backing up a trailer is the same until it's very, very, very much not.
So practice, practice, practice. Go to an empty parking lot. Get your trailer. Go to an empty parking lot. Go to in the summertime, go to a high school that is not in session. They usually have huge parking lots.
Grab some cones, whatever, something.
Practice backing up.
Yep. Because no matter what you do, and I've tried really, 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 really hard, I've tried to not have to ever back up. Sometimes you just got to. And there's no way around it. All right. I think we're done. Did we miss anything?
We missed a lot.
We probably did.
We missed a lot. And I think that listeners, if you have questions or feedback or things that we have forgotten or missed, please email us, let us know. And we can do another podcast on things that we have missed. And, because you can only think about so many different things. So please let us know.
Yep.
And especially, for those of you that are out there and have set up your trailers in alternate ways for staying in it, we'd love to see those. As we said earlier, we'd love to see those and space savers and gadgets that you've used inside to make yourself comfortable or build off on the inside. We'd love to see that.
Yep. And we will share them with everybody, and people will have better trailer setups. So if you're relying on myself and Vicky to make an error and screw it up and tell you the story, we may have not done them all yet. It seems like we probably did, but
no, I think you're only at about 78%.
Yeah, probably. Well, apparently there's way more than 100 ways to screw things up then, but
I'm going to tell you, you learn a lot more from your mistakes than you do from
you really do
making mistakes.
And somebody had told me that, especially, and I'm going to use it in my experience with working on cars, is that you never learn from a car that's not broken.
Nope.
We must be really smart then.
Yeah. So, treasure your mistakes because they're lessons learned. What do we say now? Mistakes were made, but lessons were learned.
Nothing that you say drives me more crazy than when you say that. Okay. Miss Audra. Did we miss anything?
So it's good to know that you need to practice a lot to be able to back up a trailer, but actual hints and techniques on how to do that successfully, I think would be very helpful.
Okay. We should definitely go in for number 3.
My father's lawn would be appreciative.
So the main thing when you're backing up a trailer is your trailer is going to go in the opposite direction of you turning your wheel. So if you turn your wheel right, your trailer is going to go left. Okay. So that's the number one thing, that as you're backing up, and large movements and large turning of your wheel is not what you want. You want very slow movements, just like driving a race car on a racetrack. Very slow, very small turns of the steering wheel.
Yeah, because it does go the opposite way until it doesn't.
And
then it goes the same way. So don't ask how I know that. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The way I was told was, instead of driving at the top of the wheel, drive at the bottom of the wheel, and then whichever way you go is the way the trailer is going to go.
Yeah, I was told to do the thumb thing.
Yeah, I usually end up doing the middle finger thing to myself, but that's you can do whatever you want. Anyway, people, 2 very long episodes. Thanks anybody for still listening. And Trailer Tales of Woe, trailer questions, towing questions, preferences, pictures of great things that you've done with your trailers, pictures of great things you've done with your tow pig. Let us know. GarageHeroesInTraining@gmail.com or Instagram or Facebook, or broken down on the side of the road because we've messed up towing again. You never know where we'll be. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.